Hello students. In the last session, we learnt about the meaning of nutrition, nutritional status, needs of nutritional status, and importance of nutritional status, types of nutritional status like direct methods and indirect methods of assessing the nutritional status. And in that, we just discuss about the anthropometric measurements and which are the anthropometric measurements we just discussed, just the introductory part. So today we'll be learning about the anthropometric measurements in detail one by one. Let us start with the height. Okay, height, it is influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. Means if any person's height, if we take the height of an individual is mainly influenced by the genetic factors and by the environmental factors. Whereas the maximum growth potential of an individual is decided by hereditary factors only, because height it is mainly or maximum it is decided by the hereditary factors, while the environmental factors, the most important being nutrition and morbidity, determine the extent of exploitation of that genetic potential. And also height is affected only by the long term nutritional deprivation. If there is a long term nutritional deprivation is there, then only it is affected by the nutrition, or the we can say the environmental factor, and it is considered an index of chronic or long duration malnutrition. Because of the nutrition, if the person's height is not grown properly, means definitely it can be considered as an index of chronic or long duration malnutrition. Then how this height is measured? We said in children also and in adults also we measure the height, but in children who are not able to stand, in them we won't say height, we say the length. That is the recumbent length. Recumbent length means the length from crown to heel length. It should be measured with a infantometer. Here what happens, the leg of that baby needs to be held straight and firm with the feet touching the sliding board. Here in the next picture, I'll show you how the recumbent length is taken. Here you can see here two people required for taking the recumbent length. One, this is the infantometer. Here they make the baby or the child to lay down, and to one board the crown will be uh, they make the head to touch to the board, and then they have to make the baby to lay down and knees to be stretched and feet to be stretched straightly. Make the baby to lay down straightly, knee should not get bent. So then this sliding board will be slided till it touches the feet, and that length will be taken. That is the recumbent length, and this recumbent length we say the length from crown to heel. It is taken only for those children who are not able to stand, means the small children. Okay, next, what for the older children? In older children and also in the adults also, usually in adults we won't take height, for the other purpose we take height, but for seeing the growth we take the height in the children, because every day they will be growing, no? Okay, in older children who can stand, the height can be measured by rod attached to the lever type machine or by a stadiometer. This is a stadiometer. In these pictures, you can see the baby or the child is made to stand. That or the child made to stand with the bare feet on the flat floor against the wall with the feet parallel and with heels and buttocks, shoulder and occiput touching the wall. Means feet should touch, buttocks should touch the shoulder, and the occiput means the back of the head. It should touch. And how the baby should see, head should be kept in Frankfurt plane. Frankfurt plane means it should be straight. One should see to their eye level only. Okay, like that Frankfurt plane, the head should be kept. With the help of the wooden spatula or a long plastic ruler, the topmost point of the vertex is identified on the wall and the height of the child is taken. Okay, this is about the height. And next is weight. How the weight is measured. The measurement of weight is most reliable criteria of assessment of health and nutritional status of children especially. The weight can be recorded using beam type weighing balance, electronic weighing scales for infants and children, bathroom type of machine scales, which is now very unreliable. And one more is Salter spring machine, which is used in the field conditions. In the next slide, you can see the pictures. See here, this is a Salter type of weighing machine. Here, the two ladies are weighing the baby with a Salter type of machine, beam balance, and the electronic type of weighing machine. And how the baby is weighed. Here we can see measuring the child's weight using the Salter scale. How the baby is weighed by using the Salter scale. In the right side picture you can see the bottom left side picture is the first one, then right side is second one, the top one is the third picture you can see. So one has to first adjust the scale to the zero level, whichever the machine it may be. It may be the Salter or maybe the beam balance or the electronic, whatever it may be, one has to adjust the pointer or one has to adjust the scale to the zero level. Then here in this Salter type, take off the child's heavy clothes and shoes and holds the child's leg through the leg holes. Here in the bottom left picture you can see one has to hold the child's leg through the leg holes. That is the first picture or arrow one you can see, and holds the child feet. One has to hold the child's feet and then hang the child on a Salter scale. That is the arrow 3. Means one has to we can just put a pant to a, it is just like making a child to wear the pant like that. Okay, then when it is done, the child can be hanged to the Salter scale. So then read the scale at a eye level to the nearest, that is 0.1 kg. Then remove the child slowly and safely. This is how the weight of the child is taken in the Salter scale. And like this type of weight measurement is done for the children who are usually not able to stand, and also for the small children also. Usually you might have seen these type of Salter scales in Anganwadis and all. Okay. Then how the weight measurement is taken for adults, measuring the weight of adults using the beam balance scale. Here what happens, the thing is participants are asked to remove their heavy outer garments. Means the person who is taking his weight, he has to remove his outer heavy garments like jacket, coat, and he has to remove his shoes and all. Okay, then make them empty their pockets and record the fact in the data collection form. Then the participant stands in the center of the platform weight distributed evenly to the both feet. Whatever the platform is, in the beam balance platform, they have to stand in the proper way so that the weight should be distributed evenly to both feet. They should not stand in such a way that the weight is distributed only in the single feet. On both feet, the weight should be distributed. Like that, they have to stand. Then standing off center maybe affects the measurement. One has to, the weight are moved until the beam balance and the arrows are aligned in the beam balance. Then the weight is recorded to the resolution of the scale that is nearest to the 0.1 kg or 0.2 kgs. Like this only beam balance, we get some electronic balance also. Balance only in that the first 3 steps we can follow, and if we just stand on that, it will show the reading. We can take that type of reading also. That is how the weight is measured in the adults. And the next is waist to hip circumference ratio measurement technique. Usually we say waist hip ratio. For taking the waist hip ratio, we have to measure the waist circumference separately and then the hip circumference separately. How the waist circumference is taken? A good quality non-stretchable measuring tape should be used for taking the waist circumference, and one has to view the patient from the front. Here patient means the subject to whom we are taking the waist measurement. Then locate the narrowest point between ribs and iliac. Between ribs and iliac means just below the ribs. Here you can see in this picture iliac. Okay, below the ribs and below the between the ribs and the iliac region, we have to take the narrowest point we have to take. Then ensure that the tape measure is at the same height around the waist. Means around the waist, the height of the tape should be the same. It should not be down at the back side and upper at the front side, not like that. It should be at the same height. Then measure and state the measurement correctly to the nearest centimeter. And in the waist circumference, the adult male the waist circumference should not be more than or equal to 1 or 2 centimeter, and in females it should not be more than 88 centimeter. If it is 102 centimeters in adults and more than that, and more than or equal to 88 centimeters in the adult females, they are considered as having a abdominal obesity. Here you can see the picture of the waist and the hip circumference. Next is hip circumference. Here also one has to view the person from the front. Hip measurement is taken at the widest lateral extension of the hips. Which one is the widest? That lateral extension we have to take. And ensure that tape measure is horizontal, and measure and state the measurement correctly to the nearest centimeter. And after that we can calculate the waist hip ratio to 2 decimal places. It has to calculate into 2 decimal places, means we have to consider the 2 decimal places. And the next is, that is the measurement of, or the measures of the body composition. What is this measures of the body composition is? That is the fatful thickness. Actually, weight loss in the person usually does not provide the nutritionist with an indication of type of tissue lost. Means if the person is losing his weight, the nutritionist they won't able to find how the weight is losing, means what kind of tissue is losing, how weight loss is either losing of the adipose tissue or it is by loss of a muscle tissue, that they are not able to indicate. So the measurements of this body composition is done. The measurements of skin folds, mid-arm circumference and mid-arm muscle circumference, they provide more comprehensive pictures of body composition and also the changes. Okay, first we'll start with mid-arm circumference. So usually it is also said as mid upper arm circumference. So how this mid upper arm circumference is done? One has to locate the midpoint of the arm. Here why I say mid upper arm circumference is locate the midpoint of the arm. See, this is the from shoulder bone to elbow, that is the upper arm. That is why it is called as mid upper arm circumference. Okay, one has to locate the midpoint of the arm. How to locate the midpoint of the arm? So, non-dominant arm elbow flexed at 90 degree with the palm facing upwards. For this, we have to select the non-dominant arm. Non-dominant arm means we have to select the hand with, which we are not doing much work or which is not much dominant. That hand only we have to select, because if we select the dominant hand means with the hand which we do more work, that hand's muscles will be little bit stronger. That is why we should not select the dominant hand or the dominant arm. We have to select the non-dominant arm. Usually for that purpose we select the left hand. If the people are dominated with the left hand only, then they can select their non-dominant arm. That is why the non-dominant arm is mentioned here. Then measures the stands behind the subject and locates the lateral tip of the acromion and the most distal point on the olecranon process. So acromion means here it is the shoulder bone, olecranon that is the elbow bone. One has to select those 2 points and place the tape measure so that it passes between these 2 landmarks. These 2 landmarks means from the acromion and the olecranon process. Then we have to mark the midpoint. Once if we mark the midpoint, we have to take that midpoint or the mid-arm circumference. Okay, how it has taken? The subject stands erect with the arms hanging freely at the sides and the palms facing the thighs. Once the midpoint of the upper arm is taken, then that subject need not to keep his hand with a 90 degree angle. He can leave his hand very freely so that palm can be facing to the thighs. Okay, like this. In the here in this picture, one man is taking the MEAC of the other man. In this picture, how he has kept his hand freely while taking. This when we have to fold our hand at 90 degree, that is only when we are marking the midpoint. Only that time we have to keep our hands at the 90 degree. Okay, then place the tape, measure perpendicular to the long axis of the arm at the marked midpoint and measure the circumferences to the nearest millimeter. An example 18.1 centimeter, 19.1 nearest measurement we have to take, and that will provide the MEAC, and usually we provide the actual MEAC in the centimeters only. As I shown the pictures earlier only, you can see this picture. First what they have done, first they have to take the midpoint of the upper arm. Upper arm means above the elbow bone and below the shoulder bone. From there we have to take the midpoint. Once the midpoint is marked, the hand will kept freely. It should be kept freely, and then the measurement will be taken accurately. Similarly, the midpoint is marked even for the children also. And here for children we get the standard MAC tape only, which is marked with a green color, yellow color and red color. Once you can see the pictures, the first one, yeah, the first one, and second and third one, how they have uh, kept their hand at the 90-degree angle. Fourth and fifth, they are marking at the midpoint. Here the sixth picture marking the midpoint, and the seventh picture we can see correct the tape tension. Tape tension means one should not stretch the tape much. Okay, and then in the eighth, the tape should see that at least it is little bit tight, and then tape, it should not be too loose also. It should not be too tight and it should not be too loose also. It should not be too tight ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಳಿಬಾರ್ದು. Okay, the correct position of the, here in the 10th picture we can see the correct tape position for arm circumference. Here in the hole, if it comes green color means the MAC of the child is normal. If it is yellow means it is in the danger. It is about or moderately malnourished, mildly malnourished, like that. If it is comes in red andre it is severely malnourished anta artha. Okay, this is about the height, weight and mid upper arm circumference. Okay students, in the next session I'll be dealing with the other anthropometric measurements. Okay, thank you. Now I'll finish this. Thank you.